Today we celebrate the resurrection of our Lord, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the 3 days preceding this, what we call the Triduum, the 3 days. And we talked on Holy Thursday about the trimunera of the ordained ministry, that the priest, prophet, and king, into which we were all baptized. And Jesus exercised his ministry as priest, prophet, and king. He's a priest in the line of Melchizedek, and yet beyond Melchizedek, he has a priesthood unlike any other. That whereas other priests enter the sanctuary and they offer sacrifice for the people and for themselves, Jesus is the unblemished Lamb. He is the perfect priest, the one who need not offer sacrifice for his sins because there are none. But he is also the sacrifice itself. He is the saving victim, O salutoris hostia. And so by offering the perfect sacrifice, he brings for us salvation. So on Holy Thursday, we celebrated not only the first Mass at the Last Supper, but we also celebrated that priesthood. That as priest, prophet, and king, we're first called to be a priestly people, to sacramentalize our life, to make holy. We're also supposed to be prophets, and a prophet will always be crucified if they're a true prophet. And so as we look at the wounds of Christ, his hands and his feet, his side that is pierced, his head that is crowned with thorns, we come to understand that these hands that healed, these hands that traced in the dust, the hands that would wipe clay on the eyes of the blind man, the feet that traveled through Samaria and Tyre and Sidon and Bethsaida, Capernaum, and eventually Jerusalem, the feet that would walk on water, the face that was wiped by Veronica's veil, the head that was anointed with an alabaster jar, the eyes that looked into the eyes of a sinner and offered forgiveness, and the mouth that uttered wisdom through the parables, the greatest parables, and the Beatitudes. And finally, the spear in his side that broke his heart. And yet his heart was broken long before the pike of the soldier pierced it. That his heart was broken because we are the ones who nailed his hands and feet. We are the ones who placed the thorns. We are the ones who pierced his side. Because as prophets we have a great power to lift up or to push down, to crush, to raise from the dead, or to put to death, and to bring closer to God, to bring into the light, or to lead into the darkness. And so we come to understand on Good Friday that our hands were the ones that nailed him to the cross when we have not been the prophet. That we are the ones who crowned him with thorns when we do not lead others into the light. And we are the one who pierced his heart when we do not lift up those that we are able to. And then finally, the glory of Easter. We celebrate the Holy Saturday, the most sacred night, who have endured these days of preparation in order to be brought into full communion with the Catholic Church. So we bring them into baptism, and they descend into death with Christ, and they rise with him on the other side. That they are anointed with chrism, as were anointed priests, prophets, and kings. And then they are given a white garment, that they are innocent, washed in the blood of the Lamb, and they are redeemed. And so we talk then about the kingly nature. That priest, prophet, and king, king does not mean domination, but dominion. And the dominion of the king is to take care of those who are placed into his care. God has given us what we need to be his priests, his prophets, and his king. All we need to do is accept those gifts. And as Melchizedek realized that he was not a priest for his own sake, but for the Lord. As Abraham remembered, as our father in faith, he is the servant of the Lord. And as Jesus went willingly to his death in order to bring us salvation, so also he wants us to do. Jesus gives us the great mandate, the mandatum. Do this in memory of me. I I wish you only the very best. Blessings on your family and friends, that they may rejoice in the great gift of our salvation that has been given to us freely, that we cannot earn. All we need do is receive it. God bless you.